Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This morning's video is going to be about domestic violence while pregnant. I had shared my domestic violence story last night. Again, I'm not using any names. This is my story. So I found out I was pregnant in October. I didn't think I could get pregnant. I had already moved out, but I had been staying at the baby dad's house still. That's how I did a pregnancy test at his house because he made me. And for the first couple months of being pregnant, I would say 2 or 3 months, he accused me of doing drugs because I'd be tired and I was irritable. I didn't want to be fucked with. I just wanted to go to sleep. I was real sick. So he would beat me and accuse me of doing drugs and not sharing with him. So that was the first couple months of my pregnancy. I didn't have any food. I was starving. He was coming over and eating my food, not helping me out with anything. He had got arrested and went to jail, and I had stayed at his house. His father told me to stay at his house so his friends didn't rob him and stuff. And the whole week he was, get me out, I promise I'll come home and we'll have a family. And so I called everybody, the children's services offices, please get him out. We have our first ultrasound. Nobody cared. Nobody cared. I went to my first ultrasound with my mom. He was in jail. He got out of jail. He loved me. He was going to make this work. But while he had been in jail is when I first discovered the girl's underwear who he's with now in October. I cleaned his house up because I wanted his house to be real clean when he got out. And, he told me he didn't know whose underwear they were. It was my fault that they were there because I moved out. Be reminded that he beat me every day, and I begged him to stop beating me. I begged him to stop doing drugs. I begged him just to come home and have a normal family with me. So he got out of jail. Everything was okay for a week, and then he started disappearing. He didn't even spend Halloween with me. Every weekend from Halloween to February, he disappeared. And he would say things like, oh, well, I'm working on a rocking chair for you. You're going to get it on Valentine's Day. Or I'm working on this thing for you and you're going to get it this day. And that I never got anything. He was just out cheating on me the whole time. So in December, right before Christmas, like 2 weeks before Christmas, I had got the flu really bad. It was the sickest I had ever been in my entire life. I thought me and the baby were going to die. I had a fever for like 10 days. I had drinking so much orange juice and citrus stuff. My lip, it made blisters in my lip. I had a reaction to it. My mom said when she was pregnant, the same thing happened to her. And my whole body broke out into this rash. And I couldn't walk. I was terrified. I was so weak, sore. I was vomiting. I was pooping myself, puking myself. And the father, the baby dad, is the only person in the world I would have felt comfortable with helping me. I didn't want to call my parents or my friends to come help me into the bathtub. That's embarrassing. I would call his phone and he would, oh, I'm working all day. I can't come home. So then finally one of my friends called me and said, your baby dad's over here helping this girl paint her apartment for free. He's helping her move. And the ironic part is he had got me, I thought I was going to be evicted because of him coming over and the damage to my house and the neighbors hearing him scream at me. And my landlord had footage of him shoving me down while I was pregnant and said he can't come back. and he was going to evict me. I was going to be evicted, and the place I was going to move into was the apartment this girl just moved out of. Coincidentally, just so happened. So he totally fucked me out of a cheap apartment and was screwing some girl while I was pregnant, almost dying with his child. And he swears to this day that he wasn't cheating with her, but he couldn't come help me or come home or help with any money or anything because he's working for free for these women while his pregnant girlfriend's sitting at home, and he's promising me the world the whole time. I was devastated. I was devastated to find him at another girl's house when I needed him so much. I told him, I said, I'm a very independent person, and I've always taken care of myself, but I told him, I said, this is going to be hard on me. I need you to step up, and I need you to be there for me. And he wasn't at all. The whole pregnancy. He tried to get me pregnant. It's not like this is just some happened overnight. He tried. He told his family he tried. He told me my entire relationship, he's going to get me pregnant and I'm going to have a girl, which is so odd because that's exactly what happened. Okay, so he would come over to my house. The abuse didn't stop, 6 months pregnant. I mean, abusing me, hitting me, shoving me down, screaming at me, breaking my phones, destroying my house, eating my food. And then finally at 6 months pregnant, this was I think around Valentine's Day, he had picked me up and squished me right like here and was like forcing me to stay down. And that's what started the round ligament pain. I don't know how, but that night, this is the last time he really like stayed or anything. The last night, he had hurt me so bad. I woke up that night screaming in pain. I thought, I didn't know what to think. I was screaming in pain. It hurt so bad. I almost went to the hospital that night, but he advised me not to. So the next day, I said, will you go to the hospital with me? Something's not right. And he said, call your dad. Have your dad go with you. So my fucking dad went with me. So then on Valentine's Day, he had showed up at like 8 o'clock at night. I was going to have dinner cooked. I had sexy lingerie because the whole pregnancy he had told me, you're not sexy for me anymore. You can be sexy for all these other guys. And that was the worst. That was the worst out of all the abuse, the whole relationship is getting fat, and that was the worst. This is the biggest I've ever been in my whole life. And I've never felt so unattractive in my whole life. So on Valentine's Day, so then he picked a fight. I had lingerie picked out for us, and because he had been telling me, why don't you wear lingerie for me? And he left that night. He got into a fight and he left. And I had to pay bills. I mean, this whole time I got to pay $1,000 a month for rent, sick or not, working or not. I still have to pay rent. Unlike him, he's living for free off his dad's house with other drug addicts and his new girlfriend, and they're not paying anything. And he can't bring me food or anything. So I assume after he left, he went to his new girlfriend's house. So the next day, I do massage therapy. Photography and massages are how I pay my rent right now. And I had my best friend come over and get a massage. My best friend's name's Brandon, and he come over and checked on me once a week in the whole relationship. So it's not like the baby dad didn't know the person or anything like that. And I had a massage, and the baby dad was calling and texting me saying, who's at your house? And I told him, I said, I'm doing a massage. This is who I'm giving it to. I'm almost done. And after I got paid, I had went to the dollar store because I had to get cat food. I went with my friend, Brandon. We went to the dollar store, and while we were at the dollar store, the baby dad had kicked my door in and came inside, and it was Valentine's Day, so my friend had brought flowers, and he destroyed the flowers, kicked my door in, and almost fought my friend on the front porch. He's screaming, my friend saying, she doesn't want to be with you. Why are you doing this to her? And that was pretty much the last of it that I seen the father. That was in February, right after Valentine's Day. So then for almost a whole month, he had acted like February 28th, like he was going to move in because he was getting evicted. He acted like he was going to move in. He was going to start his spring cleanup and go back to work. We were going to go to church. And I'd been planning on this. And he told me he couldn't come home at all because he's fixing up his house to move. He was doing taxes. And for a whole month, he had been ignoring me. And instead of telling me, hey, I found someone else, I've been with her since October, he lied to me and said there's no other. I would sit outside of his house, and I would see the girls. I would see people at his house. My friends would say, we just saw your baby dad with some girl in their car. And me and my own dad drove by one of his job sites and seen this girl. And the whole time he's just lying to me, saying, he's going to step up and stop hitting me, and he's going to come home, and that he loves me. And it would have been so much easier to have someone here. It's been hell. The whole pregnancy has just been hell, and I've been by myself. I've been struggling, and I could have moved away a long time ago. I could have put myself in a position to where I wouldn't be alone right now. But I believed him. Still, even after all the shit he put me through, I thought he would never do this to me. So about 3 weeks ago, I had started talking to an old friend that I knew when I was in my 20s. The person was a nut job. But they went in my phone and got the baby dad's number out of my phone and texted them. So then I got a call from the baby dad saying, he has a girlfriend and she's 18 and she listens better than I ever did. And that's really how I found out about her. So for the past 3 weeks, he had been coming over, bringing me gifts. He baked me a cake once, telling me, he doesn't love this person. I forced him to settle with her. He doesn't love her. He wants to be with me. He wants to work this out. And it was just all lies, He was just playing us both. His own mom had me fooled. I wouldn't have stayed so long, but his own mom was telling me, he loves you. He wants to be with you. He told me he was trying to get you pregnant. And she even hid the relationship from me. She knew about the relationship and hid it from me for months. Fucking months. How could a woman do that to another woman, especially a woman who's been exactly through the same situation I'm going through? That's just cruel. The whole family's fucked. You don't do that. You don't do that to women. So finally, this is April 10th. April 4th, I had called and said I had to go to Kroger, and there was the cases of the virus there. We had been texting, not anything nice. I'm saying, text your girlfriend. He's He convinced me that she knew the whole time. The mom told me that the girlfriend's seen text messages. He calls her my girl, which is like what he used to call me. And so then Saturday I said, I have to go to Kroger, I love you, be safe. And he texted me, I love you, be safe. And then 45 minutes passed, and then he said, don't text me again. So I haven't. He called me Monday while I was at the river saying, oh, I see you at the river, and it's taken everything in me not to stop. So it's just like, I don't know what he wanted or why he put me through this. But it's fucking insane to do this to somebody, especially if you've had a girlfriend the whole time. I truly, fully, and solely believe he was trying to make me have a miscarriage so he wouldn't have to raise another kid. He has a kid with someone else, and he doesn't want to be a part of his life because she has a new boyfriend, and they don't really need him. And that's what he told me. I'm not going to watch some other man raise this kid too. So he's not going to be a part of my life. Why would you beat somebody and shove your pregnant girlfriend down and hit her and neglect her and abuse her for being sad that you won't come home and help when you have a girlfriend the whole time? That's why I think he was trying to kill the baby. Why would you do that to somebody? So, he hasn't been around in a month and a half now. And everybody's telling me, oh, you look so great. You look the best you've ever looked in your whole life. Your hair's looking great. And I didn't realize the stress of the relationship literally made my hair stop growing. It made me look terrible, and I didn't realize that. I didn't realize the stress was killing me. In the month he's been gone, I signed back up for school. I'm going back to school. I got food assistance. I got health insurance. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to by myself, and I'm going to make it without him. I will never look back. I'll never forgive him. He had opportunity after opportunity to make things right, but this is what narcissists do. They discard you in your time of need so you don't think about the joys of giving birth. You don't think about, oh, you have a wonderful life inside of you. You think, how could these people do this to me? And you think, when I'm going to think back to this. I'm not going to think back to being pregnant. I'm going to think back to being crushed and devastated. That's how narcissists do. I'm encouraged. I know I'm going to be okay. And I feel sorry for him and his family. To anybody who's watched this, and it's helped them, that's why I made the video. It's hard to talk about. And it's hard to... You don't know what other people's going to think. And that's the hardest. If I would have had a miscarriage from him shoving me down, it would have been nobody's fault but my own. And I realized that. So I'm encouraged, and when the baby's here, I'm going to love it more than anything in the world. So that's my story. Thanks for listening.